Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then welcome. My name is Brittany and I started doing YouTube maybe like a couple months ago. I took a little bit of a break, just had to focus on me for a bit, and now I'm back. So today's video, we're going to be talking about nursing because I'm a licensed practical nurse and I'm also in my third year to finish my registered nurse program. I am so happy to finally be in my third year. There was like a point where I never thought that I would do it. I didn't think that I was going to make it. And now here I am going into my last year. So I have the fall semester. I have 2 classes, and then my last semester is what is called internship. I'm just going to go work 4 days at a hospital. I have no idea how internship works, but I'm just really looking forward to being done because I have been in school for a while. In this video, I want to talk about how I became an LPN, my story to get into college to do my 3-year DEC, and some advice that I have for students who are entering nursing now. I actually graduated college with a degree in social sciences. I don't even know where my diploma is. I never really did anything with it. I graduated in 2012 and then I entered a university for a Bachelor of Arts in Classical History because I really love history. It's something that my husband and I share in common, that we talk about often. It's actually kind of how we connected when we went on our dates. We discussed like Greek history, Roman history, a little bit of Egyptian history, since I took all kinds of different histories when I was in college. I ended up only staying maybe like, I don't even think I finished my first semester. I was just sitting in class and I was like, what am I gonna do with this exactly? There's not a lot of what am I gonna do with this? So I ended up leaving before the end of the first semester, and I ended up just kind of working like a part-time, well, I worked a full-time kind of student job. I worked in a fast food restaurant. As I said in one of my first videos actually, is that my father was critically ill for most of my adolescence and a lot of my early 20s. Actually, pretty much my whole 20s when I think about it. And I was in the hospital visiting my father. I think he was getting ready to go like have a surgery done. And I saw a student nurse come in and she was playing with an IV. And I was like, wow, like I really want to do that. That looks so fun. And it's actually a student nurse is from the college that I go to now, and my mom is also a licensed practical nurse. Because my father was sick for most of my life, I was kind of used to administering insulin and medications and knowing kind of what to look out for. I started researching, okay, nursing school, like what do I need to get into nursing school? So the first thing I did was I checked the CEGEPs, and I saw that there was a prerequisites for chemistry and math, and I was really scared of that. I was like, okay, no, I'm really not good at math. Chemistry is like, I don't know, it's a no for me. I just decided, okay, no. So then I I looked at other options, and there was an option to be an LPN. I didn't really know what the difference between an LPN and an RN was, so I was like, whatever. I went to a public school that does like a DRP, and I said, okay, it's about 18 months. I called them. The wait list was long. Like I called them in March and their next opening was only in October. And I didn't even know if they were going to take me, so the wait might have been even longer and longer. Finally, I called them in September because I wanted to know what was going on. I ended up going to the school. I signed up. I put myself on the waiting list and I said, okay, we'll see. Then I went to the school. I called the school in September and I was like, hey, like what's going on? Are you going to take me or not? And they said that they didn't know. And I said, okay, well, like what am I going to do here? Finally, like a week or 2 later, they called me and they took me. So I went in and I did an 18-month intensive program to become a licensed practical nurse. I graduated in 2015 and I ended up working, I took like the summer off. I worked a part-time job at a DEP, which is actually where I met my husband. I worked at that DEP and he was a customer. So I worked there. An ex-friend was working at a company that does clinical research and she got me in. So in 2015 in October, I started working in clinical research and I've been there ever since. I've been there this October. It's going to be 7 years I've been working at that company. In between finishing my LPN in 2015 and 2017, I tried to go back to school. I decided I wanted to be a registered nurse. felt like I loved nursing so much and I was so passionate about it that I just really wanted to be an RN. So I said, okay, I'm going to go back to school. So I ended up going to an adult education center in the city. Sorry, I just fixed the angle a bit. I ended up going to an adult education center in the city. And I started, because you need to have, the prerequisites are math, chem, and science. And I didn't have any of that. So I said, okay, I'm going to start with the science part. However, it was kind of difficult because my father was critically ill and his health was always fluctuating. So, you know, it would be critical, then it would be stable. It was hard. I was working full-time at my job, and even more than full-time, I would do 2-3 doubles a week. Plus I had to manage like the cleaning and the cooking, since my mom and myself and my other siblings were always going back and forth to the hospital. We had to take care of the house. I would help there. It just kind of became too overbearing and I couldn't do it anymore. So I ended up just kind of dropping out. I was like, okay, whatever. And I was a little disappointed, but it's okay. In 2017, my father passed away, and I just took some, like, that's obviously very difficult to go through, and it took a while to kind of adjust to what my new life was going to be now without my father. My father passed away October 2017, and a couple months down the line, I was actually working at my current job, and I was like, okay, I want to do something else. So I decided I wanted to go back. So I revisited my options and I looked, okay, if I want to be an RN, I have two choices. I can either do the night school at the CEGEP to get the three courses that I'm missing, or I can do it at an adult education center. The benefit about the adult education center is you can do everything in your own time frame. So I could do 3 courses in 3 months, depending how hard I worked, right? And then the con, from what I hear, it's not 100% sure, is that because it's an adult education, you really need to get higher. There's the pro about doing it in night school, that if you're already doing it in the college, like you're already a college student, so maybe they're more likely to take you. So I was like, fine. I talked it over with my boyfriend. I said, listen, I want to go back to school. Like, what do you think? And he said, yes. So then it became a decision of what direction did I want to take? Did I want to do the adult education center, or did I want to do it in night school? Okay, so I'm editing the video right now, and there's something that I forgot to mention. When I spoke about the adult education versus the CEGEP, the main difference was the timing. If I would do it in an education center, like I said, I could do 3 courses in 3 months and be able to apply for the program starting in the fall. However, for the night school in the college, you have to take each thing per semester. So if I had 3 courses, it meant that it was a year and a half of being in school doing only night classes. So by the time I'm going to be finishing this year, it means I have been in school for 5 years. So I just wanted to clear that up on why I was unsure which route I wanted to take. In 2018, so about 6 or 7 months after my father passed away, I applied for night school in a college. I got in and I spent my first semester, I did physical science 436. I don't know what it's called now. I don't know. All the names have changed. But I did 436 science. And when I first started it, I was really excited, but I didn't really think I was going to stick with it. I thought I would do like 2-3 months, figured that I didn't really like it, and then all of a sudden, just kind of drop out. That wasn't the case. I actually took school really seriously. I went to go see my boss, said I'm going back to school. I want to reduce my hours and I really want to focus. And I did. And I did very, very well on all my tests. And when I finished it, I was like, wow, that's so cool. Like, I was surprised. I said, oh my God, I actually stuck out the semester. The next step I needed to take was chemistry. Chemistry, I don't have anything nice to say. Actually, I really like chemistry. I was even thinking like midway through chem that I would switch from nursing and be a biochemist, because I did really love chemistry, the course, but not the person teaching. So I was like, it was tough. Did I have a couple tutors? I think by the end and I never did bad, but I was always so stressed about it. I ended up getting a tutor because it was a lot of math, and I never took math. I was never good at math. So it was like I was kind of learning advanced math when I didn't even have the beginning of math. So it was really complicated. I ended up getting a tutor. I studied really hard for my exams, and finally I passed. When I passed chemistry, it was like a whew. So for the prerequisites of nursing, you need to have the chem, the math, and the science. So the science and the chem, you absolutely need to have them, and then it's strongly recommended to have math. But for me, strongly recommended meant like I didn't need to have it. But halfway through chemistry, I did science. My plan was science in the fall, chem in the winter, and then apply for the following fall semester into the nursing program. So applications start March 1st. They kind of had a fair at the college so you can speak to people who are already in the program. And I started to talk to one of them. I said, oh, I did science, I'm doing chem. Okay, I spoke to the girl and I told her I don't need to have math because it's only like strongly recommended. And she was like, no, you need to have math. I was like, yeah, but it says strongly recommended. She was like, you need math. So I had to delay my plan, and I told my husband, I said, okay, well, I need to do an extra semester now because now I need to get the math. So I finished chem, my summer pass, and then in the fall 2019, I did advanced math, which was like really stressful. I think for math at one point I had like 3 tutors, because not that I'm not capable or that I'm not incompetent, but it's like I have no self-confidence in my ability to do math because I've never done math, that I was like, it was a stressful semester, and I knew that this was the last thing that I needed before I applied, and I just figured I had come so far that I didn't want to have to stop. Like I didn't want to fail math and then have to do it. I didn't want to do that. So I just stuck it out. I studied really hard and I passed. And for the March 1st application, I applied to the college and boom, I got in. The story of the night school, I kind of went over really quick, but it was stressful. I think chemistry was probably like one of the worst night classes I ever did. I ended up making some friends in the school, and I would pretty much just show up to class just to see my friends, but I often had to teach myself. I would just kind of sit in class and kind of listen and maybe get like bits and pieces of things. Then when I would have to go home and teach myself or spend time with my tutor, I learned how to connect like what she was saying to what I was applying. So whatever. Math, I actually failed my second math exam like 59.64, like from, it's not a 60. Anyways, when I got that mark, I was like, no. And I literally did nothing else but study for that freaking course. Like when I got my final mark for my class, for my math class, I called my husband and I was crying because I was like, okay, I did very well in everything. I got 80s, high 80s in everything, because nursing is a very competitive program. So what I would try to explain to people is not just about passing, you have to do well. I can't just get a 60, you need to get like an 85, like there's certain, I'm not 100% sure. I don't work at the admissions board at the college that I go to, or any college actually. So I don't know if any of this is true, but I've always heard that nursing is very competitive. So just to get by is not the same as doing well. You need to do well. So the wait in between finishing math and going to school was probably super long. I was so excited to start nursing. I couldn't believe that I had done all of that. I was like, wow, I can't believe I actually stuck to what I said and that I'm actually going through with this. So there you have it. There's my spiel about my journey into becoming an LPN all the way into getting into my current nursing program that I'm in right now with only 1 year left. It's actually not even a year. I think it's something like 8 months, like something crazy, something mind-blowing. So the next portion of the video that I wanted to do is kind of give you some advice, because I've been through what will be now my second type of nursing program, and I have developed some things that I feel were helpful for me. Doesn't mean it's going to be helpful for you, but it was definitely helpful for me. So I kind of wrote down a couple things that I feel helped me get through the last 2 years, because nursing is tough. If you've ever taken nursing, or if you know someone in nursing in school, it's kind of like, if you know, like there's no social life. It's very stressful. It's high pressure. it's a really tough program. So I compiled a list of things that I feel like were helpful to me, and I put them together, and I want to talk about them. So here are my advice to future nursing students, or if you're a nursing student now, keep it up. I don't know what this is. It's like something that I kind of developed. So here we go for my nursing advice for my future students, my current students. So the first thing that I'm going to suggest is buy material that you love. School material that you love. I had the philosophy, especially when I was in math, I actually had a pink notebook because I love the color pink. And I told myself if my brain can associate the pink with the math, maybe I'll like it more. Did that work? No, it didn't. But still, it doesn't matter. It's always nice to get excited about your cute materials. I love new school supplies. I love shopping for new school supplies. It's probably like the highlight of my summer, and I'm so excited. So I brought two things that I wanted to show you because this binder, I don't know if you guys can see it. It's like this sparkly binder. I got it at Winners, and I would use this for the class where I learned to do my head to toe. And then I bought this binder. It's actually used. It's from last year. It's what I used for my pharmacology class. But it has moopies on it. And if you know me, you know I love cats. They're my life. My two cats are my life. Actually, I'm surprised that one of them is here. Lulu. I don't know. She's kind of playing a little bit of game. No. I put my toy. Her favorite toy is up there, and she's always trying to get it. I'll show you. Miss, go down. She's like a little delinquent. I left for Maine. My sister babysat my cats, and she said that one, she's a troublemaker, like her mama. Anyway, another thing that I bought was actually also pastel colored highlighters. I love those things. They were actually kind of expensive. I think I got them at Indigo. I think they were like $14, but they're worth it because 3 years later, I still have them. So buy school supplies that you're excited to use, that you love. That's my very first suggestion. My second tip would be when you get your course outlines, look at your course outlines and look out when what is due and when. So the first thing I usually do, hold on, my eye is super itchy. When I get my course outlines for my classes, the first thing I do is I don't even think I read what I'm learning and when. I look first, when are my exams? When are my exams and how many do I have? Depending on the semester, last year I had 3 exams for almost every class, which is very overwhelming. But the years before, hey, lady. But the years before I had 2. This semester as well, I only have 2. So I look at them and I see when they are. How far in the semester are they? How far apart are they? How many assignments do I have in between? And I start to organize myself. I work part-time. If I have an exam coming up, I'll usually ask for X amount of days off so that I have the time to study and prepare. My third tip is maybe controversial depending on who you are, but do the readings. If you've been in nursing, you know that the readings are overwhelming. I had one for my obstetrics class. It was like chapter 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And those chapters can be like 70 pages each. When it's that, I mean, pick and choose what you're going to read. I would look at the PowerPoint or look at the lab and see kind of what they highlighted, and I would try to read that section. If it's not super overwhelming, like if it's not 15 chapters, then I suggest that you do the readings. I feel the readings really help me because sometimes I don't finish the PowerPoints in class, and it will give you a more full picture and a better understanding. Yes, it's a hassle and it's annoying to do the readings, but try your best to do the readings. I would suggest it. And if you're not going to do the readings, do what I did when things were just a little bit too overwhelming. I would look at what they talked about and I would read that particular section and I would just take notes. And that's, you know, when push comes to shove. There's some semesters that are a little bit more relaxed, and I use that term like really like this because there's no such thing as a relaxed semester. But there's other terms, like for me it was medicine surgery, where I mean I did the readings for most of the semester, but eventually I had to stop. I just didn't have the time. So I would just kind of read what they would talk about and what was important. My fourth tip is to get a study group together. Peer teaching is probably the best kind of teaching, and it's you teach them and then they teach you, and that will help solidify what you learned and see really what you know versus what you don't know, and then you can find the resources to help complete that picture so that you have a better understanding. Because nursing, it's not memorizing, it's really understanding. You have to understand why the body works a certain way, why certain pathologies are this, etc., etc., etc. For me, also, it's good to have a good support group. Like, I feel when I'm feeling not motivated to study, there's a couple people that I talk to who will push me to study. They'll push me to come to meetings. They'll push me to do my homework, or if we're not feeling it, we'll do it online together. To get a group of people who have the same study habits as you. I study a lot, like a lot. I can get up at 7 a.m. and I can do like 16-hour study sessions all day. I won't talk to my husband. I won't do none of that. My sole focus is to study for those 16 hours for X amount of days during an exam. And that is my study habit. That's what works for me. Some people might think it's crazy, but for me, that's what I do, and that's kind of what I've always done, and it's always worked for me. Versus some people who can study like 3-4 hours, take a break, come back 3-4 hours. Everybody has their own method. That's mine. But I suggest you find someone who has at least similar ways to study, or at least has the same way of thinking. Like, I could not study with someone who does not take it seriously. If you're going to go out and party the night before an exam, I can't study with you because we're not seeing this the same way. For me, a night before an exam, it's like, it's crunch time, baby. I am in my knee deep in books trying to understand those last minute things that I don't understand. To be fair, my husband often has an argument. He says, if you don't know it now, you don't know it. But I also have a friend who thinks that you can study study to the last minute. I'm kind of a philosophy of in between the two. I want to study to the last minute because my anxiety would not let me just not study. But when I've been studying for 17 weeks straight, by the time I hit my final exam and it's kind of like an hour or two before, I'm like, whatever, if I don't know it, I don't know it. Like, it depends on how tired I am in the semester, and it actually depends on all sorts of things. But I definitely need people who have the same study habits as me. This brings me to my next point, which is tip number 5. Do not listen to what other people get on their exams. Don't talk to people after exams. Don't compare marks after exams. Don't do none of that. 1, I don't want to talk to anyone before an exam because people stress me out and make me think that I don't know anything. 2, I don't really like to compare my marks with other people because for me personally, I don't really feel like it means that much. Of course, you need to pass, okay? It's not what I'm saying, but it doesn't mean like one is not indicative of the other. If I get maybe a little bit better than maybe my friend, or she does better than me, it doesn't mean one is a better nurse than the other. I don't suggest you compare your marks, and do not talk to people after your exams. I can't even stress this because one time I made the mistake. I wrote my second nursing exam in college. So I wrote it 2 years ago in the fall, in November. When I finished it, it was tough, but I was thinking, okay, like, I don't think I did too bad. Then somebody called me and we started comparing answers, and I realized that we didn't have any of the same answers, and it sent me into like a downward spiral for like a week. I couldn't get out of bed. I was so stressed. I was crying. I was walking around my work crying. Oh my God, I failed. I'm so scared. And I was so desperate that I was on YouTube looking at horoscopes to see if they could tell me whether or not I passed my exam. That's how desperate I was. I'm not even kidding. My husband was like, Sorry. Also, again, which kind of really makes me laugh, is that for that exam, I was so stressed and desperately looking to see if I would pass that I even asked my sister to do a tarot card reading in hopes that somewhere in that reading it would tell me like, you passed your exam. Like, my God. Anyway, sometimes when I'm editing, I remember these funny stories and I'm like, wow, like, that was really funny. Don't talk to people after your exam. Just tunnel vision. Now what I do is when I write an exam, I leave, I get my shit, I go home. I don't want to talk to none of y'all. I don't want to know none of y'all put. I don't care. I'm like, I gotta go, because the spiral that it can send you sometimes is so terrible. It just feels like you can't get out of bed. When you think that you didn't do well on a nursing exam, it can like eat you up. You can not eat for days. Well, maybe not eat. I could always eat. But I definitely had trouble sleeping. I would have nightmares. So I just personally don't suggest that you do that. So the next tip that I want to give is to, I think it's my 6th tip, is to not put so much pressure on yourself. At the first year of my nursing, I put a lot of pressure on myself. One, because I'm an LPN, so I figured I should have something. I should have better knowledge than other people, because technically I've already done some of this before, because it's not the same. The learning is very different. It's like day and night. So I figured I should know that kind of stuff, and if I didn't know it, it means I wasn't a good LPN in the first place. I felt a lot of pressure to perform and be the best. Ultimately, I think it took a toll on me. It took a toll on my relationship. I would take it so seriously. I was so stressed all the time. I would cry a lot. After every exam, I would cry. If you work with me, you know I would walk around the building and cry. I would eat supper and cry. I would just cry a lot. It's definitely different now. I have a different philosophy, because medicine and surgery, it humbles you real quick. My first year, I was like, I will not accept anything under an 85. And if I got an 85, it was like I got a 0. Okay? And med-surg, by the time I hit my last semester, I was like, yo, what do I need to pass? Like, it really humbled me a lot. So don't put so much pressure on yourself. Actually, I suggest, like, have fun with what you're doing. Like, enjoy the learning process and learning how to connect the dots. Like, that's fun. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to perform and to be the best. Like, you're a student, you're learning. Everybody has a learning curve. Everybody learns at different rates. It's okay if you don't understand one thing. You could always watch videos or do your readings to solidify whatever you don't understand. Just take the pressure off yourself. And the last tip that I want to give is to practice self-care. I think practicing self-care in nursing is so difficult. During some semesters, my first year of nursing, I was at home because it was the pandemic, so there was a lot more time for self-care. Like, I could be sitting in class with a face mask on. I never put my camera on, and nobody would know. But when I went back to school, it was so different. I had to factor in the travel time to get there. The college I go to, it's in the city. I live in the north, so it can take an hour and a half sometimes to get back home. Like, I would literally, like, wash my hair really quick, maybe put some, like, I would wash my body, obviously, brush my teeth, and then it was like, okay, like, what's the next thing? It was always, what is the next thing? What is the next thing? What is the next thing? That I never took care of myself, and by the time I had finished my semester, I was so exhausted. This semester, it's definitely better. I try to focus on doing my schoolwork, doing my readings, but taking like that 15 minutes. I take that 15 minutes to go for a walk. I take that extra time in the shower to or after my shower to do my proper skin prep. I take the time to do that because those are little things that make me happy. So please don't forget to take care of yourself. It's really, really important. I know the teachers in my college, they always say, don't forget to take care of yourself. And then they give me like 600 million pages of work to do. I'm like, when am I supposed to take care of myself? But put a boundary, like say, okay, for me, I study all day. From 7 to 8, I have a break. And in that 7 to 8, I'm going to take a bath with my bath bomb. When I come out, I'm going to do my nighttime skin prep. And then after, I can retake my studying. Okay, so those are my tips for new nursing students, or if you're already in nursing. Those are just some of my friendly tips. I hope that you guys take these things with a grain of salt. Everybody is different. Everybody does different things, and that's fine. That's really fine. It's just what I do and what I feel like has really helped me in my nursing. Nursing is really tough. It is a tough program. It's known to be a tough program, and I commend you all for being in nursing or wanting to go into nursing, because in the end, it's really rewarding. Even though school can be very stressful, especially when I was in a certain semester, I was really stressed all the time. But when I would go to the clinical, when I would do what I needed to do, I felt rewarded. I felt validated in what I was learning. I was able to connect the dots from what I see, what you see or hear, like what you hear about in the theory and what you physically see in the hospital. It comes together. It really is a good experience. I love nursing. I don't regret nursing. I always say I'm not very good at many things, but nursing I can really do. I love it so much. So I just wanted to tell you guys, don't give up, keep pushing through. Sometimes it feels like you're gonna die. I know, I felt like that a lot of times. So worth it. I just love nursing. I just love nursing. I love it. I'm good at it. This is just my spiel, so that's my story, and this is the advice that I want to give. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm looking forward because there's the beauty and lifestyle part of me, and then there's the nursing part of me. So if you would like to see any more of those videos, just let me know. Thank you for watching this video. Please comment, subscribe. If you have any other video suggestions, just let me know, and I'll be sure to put them out probably as soon as I can. I'm in school, so I'll probably try to upload maybe once a week. I'm gonna work on that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon.